Good afternoon, collective. Welcome into your reading today. I am so thrilled that you're here today. Really looking forward to today's reading. Really happy for you to be here joining me, contributing your beautiful energy, your light, your presence. I'm grateful for each and every one of you being here. So, to all of my returning subscribers and watchers, welcome back. To all those who are new here, welcome in. If this is your first time here, I do things a little bit differently. I am a channel for the divine. I do use cards because it does help others as well as me sometimes looking at imagery. However, I do channel a lot of information. So if there are times where you see less cards, then that is why more channeling is coming through. Other times, more cards come through. So it just depends on the day. Starting with that, though, while I was preparing my own energy before sitting down for the session, I heard that Archangel Uriel wanted to come through and work with us today. So, I do not actually have a deck that has Archangel Uriel and all of well, no, what am I saying? I don't have that specific angel deck. There is one out there that has all of the archangels and things like that in it. But I do have an energy oracle deck that does have the archangels in it. So I'm going to pull Archangel Uriel from this one. Yeah, right here. Mhm. To get us started on our beautiful journey. There's going to be, this is a message that's going to be about guidance. Um, I don't know anything more than that. I wasn't really privy to the information, but this is the card Archangel Uriel. And Archangel Uriel works with our crown chakra. So this may be a message regarding at least somewhat, because I just heard not all of it, at least somewhat to do with your crown chakra. Okay, so your crown chakra does revolve around your thoughts, your awareness, as well as your spiritual gifts and abilities, and your consciousness, your tether between the ether and yourself, the divine and yourself, your connection with source, and your connection with your Holy Spirit team, your holy ancestors, all those people who are assisting you at this time in the angelic realm, as well as in the divine realm. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going to come through here, but I am noticing in this picture that she is holding the Akashic, pardon me, the Book of Knowledge, the Akashic Records, right? So again, talking about your crown chakra being the access point, this may have something to do with clearing out your crown chakra, perhaps receiving a gift, um, perhaps receiving a download, or just strengthening that connection in general to the divine. But this really seems to me like there is some aspect here. Hmm, Pardon me. Hold on one second. I'm going to clear the energy here. What I'm receiving is that there is a lot of clearing work being done at this time around the collective's crown chakra. And this is going to enable you to receive clearer information, clearer downloads, clarity, period, in your thoughts. And I just heard to strengthen that, by cleansing it, by clearing it, by removing any negative thought patterns or beliefs that you might still be holding on to, but mostly because this isn't a crown chakra, I'm getting consciousness, right? So the unconsciousness as well is playing a role in here because, of course, when we are consciously choosing certain thoughts, sometimes there is still an operating system going on in the background that we may not recognize as happening, right? This is the automatic thought process. We cannot stop our thoughts. That's as natural as breathing. But what we can do is become aware of the program that's running in the background so that we can learn to regulate what's going on in that background, in that unconscious state, essentially. So this may have something to do with that as well. We'll see when we are getting into the message what would like to come through. But I do have a strong pull, an idea, and feeling that this is really about strengthening your own gifts and abilities. Maybe you're receiving the gift of claircognizance, right? That would be a clear knowing. That's one of the psychic gifts and abilities. And so that is when you know something and like you just know profoundly, and it's not like other clairs where you might smell something or you might hear something, right? This one is that you already know. You have access to higher realms of wisdom. You have access to um, a knowing that is divine and divinely given. And so being myself, hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. Being myself, I have this Claire. It kind of works like when you learn to trust it and you work on that operate, maybe that's part of the message why I'm bringing this up. When you learn to deprogram the unconscious thoughts that are running, operating in the background, then you can develop trust in the information that you're receiving, in the downloads, or even the insights, right? Or the clarity of mind that you receive. You develop your trust in this knowing, and this is your spiritual team, the angels, your holy ancestors coming through to show you what steps to take next, to direct you in the right direction, or to remind you of possibly the directions that you're going in that may not be for your highest and best good or in your best interest, right? They're always trying to guide you into the right direction so that the path onward towards that thing is faster, right? And so developing some trust in that has to go hand in hand with eliminating the thought processes that are uh, counteracting this gift. Yeah. Okay. They said finish up there. So I'm going to grab some water here. All right. So, what is your opening message, Archangel Uriel? And thank you for presiding. Thank you for presiding over this reading today for the collective. We greatly appreciate your assistance today and your guidance. What is your opening message for the collective, other than what I've just channeled? I mean, it could tie in. I guess we'll see. Oh, never really know what's coming through that one. Okay. Clarity. Okay, yeah, that does tie in. Trust yourself and the universe to make the necessary changes to achieve your goals. Soon you'll gain clarity about your life's purpose. Okay. All right, yeah. And I mean, definitely when your crown chakra is out of balance, your thought processes will be out of balance. But I'm told to remind you that the two go hand in hand with clearing your chakras and clarity. Like if you're having a lack of clarity in your mind, to make sure that you are regulating your nervous system as well. Okay, those two go hand in hand. So you can't just work on your chakras if you're not regulating your nervous system at the same time, because the pull or the energy from one or the other creates imbalance in the body and the mind, as well as all of your chakras. So, ensuring that you are balancing those both at the same time is going to be very useful for you going forward if you're not already doing that. Um, but yeah, so, clarity is definitely a massive thing. So, I'm getting that some of you in the collective have been wondering what your life purpose is. You're not taking action perhaps forward because you don't have clarity. You're lacking clarity on which direction to go into, what step to take next. And that's kind of what we were getting here is that if there is an issue with your crown chakra being blocked, or you um, perhaps have something going on autopilot that's counteracting the information coming through, then that's going to create a block to your clarity. It's going to create um, a bunch of thoughts that, just create more confusion, a bunch of feelings, because thoughts obviously are the starting point all the way down to action, right? So there may be a lack of clarity going on right now in your life where you're not like you have some ideas as to what you would like, but you're not really clear on what direction you're supposed to be going into. And so definitely calling on. I can see why Archangel Uriel is here today, calling on her for assistance in that clarity, or to give you that clarity, or to help you unblock your crown chakra at this time is going to be beneficial for you. And not only that, there is this sense of a lack of trust and in your own decisions, in your own ability to decide what's going to be best for you. I have talked about this before on this channel where, you future project each idea that you have, and you kind of live or embody or envision that for yourself and what it would be like and all of the details and whether or not that would be gratifying to you, as well as providing for you in the way that you need. So it's not just about what we receive, but it's also about what value we add to the world. What can we give back by doing what we are doing, right? Does it inspire somebody? Does it uplift somebody? Does it teach somebody something, right? What value do we add by doing whatever choice and path that we choose, by doing that for the betterment of the whole, not just ourselves, right? So maybe there's also a lack of clarity on how that looks for you, or how that would play out, which is clearly needed at this time to sort out any further details, so that you can also trust yourself. But again, this trust is developed through through eliminating the unconscious thought forms too that are existing in the background, because again they're causing blocks, they're causing confliction, they're causing your mental state at this time to be jumbled up with a whole bunch of thoughts and maybe negative thoughts and negative beliefs and feelings and things like that. So if you're lacking clarity, then this is the advice. And this is what she's indicating here. Let's get a little more on that though. Can we continue on the opening message, please? Archangel. Oh, when did that happen? All of these totally switched around. Okay, hold on. That's a lot of cards, so I'm not going to take all of those. Yeah. Okay, can we get a little more on your opening message and clarity, please, Archangel Uriel? Never ceases to amaze me the confirmations coming through after I do some channeling through the cards, right? Uh, I appreciate it. What else would you like to share for this opening message, Archangel Uriel? For the collective. Oh, can we do this one? Okay. Hmm. Okay, so we've got self-love. Prioritize your well-being and cultivate a deep sense of love and compassion for yourself. So again, we're coming down to this. When we are conflicted with our thoughts, then, we start to self-abandon. When we give way to negative thoughts or negative beliefs, or there's a bug here. I actually caught that in the air. Amazing. It was tiny. When we give way to negative beliefs or doubt or lack of faith, or we allow our minds to get to this point where we no longer know which direction, we no longer know how to trust ourselves. This does create, or what the pattern is self-abandonment, right? And when we self-abandon, then it just creates more dis-ease within us, right? So what is being suggested here is that this clarity, the lack of clarity that you are experiencing, comes from a place within you that is likely rooted in childhood, that taught you a lesson, that you needed to self abandon yourself, that you couldn't trust your own thoughts, that you couldn't trust yourself. So there is something within you that was taught to you that was false, obviously, that taught you how to work in this capacity. And so you might be self-sabotaging, you might be self-abandoning every time that you are faced with a decision, or every time you are faced with fear, or every time that you have a lack of clarity or a lack of inspiration or understanding, you might be programmed to self abandon. And what's being suggested here is to look at this aspect, this lie that you were told in childhood, and evaluate whether or not you want to continue to prioritize that, or if you want to continue to strengthen your own will, which is your freedom to decide for yourself, right? Um, and by doing that, then you are strengthening your resolve to love yourself, right? This is that self-love. You're choosing no longer to abandon yourself by giving way to these thoughts or giving way to your fear. And by doing that, you develop self-trust in the process. Okay. What else would you like to add to this opening message for the collective? Archangel Uriel, please, thank you. Mm, oof, yeah, I just got shivers all the way up my back. She just said that it was a lie. And so you have to forgive yourself for believing that lie. That lie is now a part of the ego self that you've developed in order to protect yourself and survive in the world, but it was a lie and it's not the truth. And so it's important to forgive yourself, to have compassion for yourself every time that part of your ego comes forward and tries to tell you that lie, instead of suppressing it, accepting it, seeing it, witnessing it as it comes forward, and understanding that that was a survival mechanism and it was a part of you who had to develop in order to survive the conditions that you were raised in, that you had to um, make your way through in the world. But now you have an option, and now you have a new choice, a new opportunity to resolve that. And that is to look at it compassionately, that part of your ego, that part of your wounded inner child that comes up each time this comes up, to look at that, to really be there for them with compassion and understanding, but then to also be the one who's in control, the one who is strong, the one who decides in that moment that though that may have been how you needed to survive, it's no longer useful for you. It's no longer helping you. In fact, it is detaining you, it is preventing you from moving forward. And not only that, when we sit with that part of ourselves and compassionately accept them and love them and nurture that part of ourselves in the way that we never received in childhood, then we can allow for that ego part of ourselves to stop feeling as though they're in defense mode, which allows that ego part of ourselves to relax. And when that part of us relaxes, then the real work can be done. We can overcome it by changing that thought or by changing, by just simply stating, like, though that may have worked in the past, it's not needed now or it's not benefiting us now. And now I'm an adult and I'm able to take the reins of this situation and I'm going to protect you along the way, right? Whatever it is for you that you need to say in order to provide comfort and support so that you can step into that power. And this is self-empowerment. It's not overcoming the ego. It is not it is not using blunt force or blunt strength to overcome the ego or to suppress the ego. It's just playing witness to the ego and then allowing yourself to step into self empowerment by protecting that vulnerable aspect of self so that you can move forward in this newfound way, right? Okay. What else would you like to add for this, Archangel Uriel? Refocus. Yep. Oh, and if I didn't name the numbers, which I don't think I did, we've got angel number 543. So you might have been seeing that number recently. If you haven't, that's okay. Maybe you'll see it in the future. These don't necessarily have to resonate, but I do like to call them out because sometimes it means pay extra attention if you have seen these numbers or if you're seeing them successfully. Successfully, weird. Um, that must be a message for somebody. In succession of one another. So then we've got angel number 676, and then we have angel number 666. So it says refocus. Refocus to find balance between your material and spiritual aspects of life. Stop putting too much emphasis on the material things. Okay, so some of this clarity or lack of clarity and jumbled up thoughts and feelings or things going on in your life is due to where you're putting your attention, where you're putting your focus. So let's just say you want to create a business that is divinely inspired, that's divinely aligned, that is going to benefit all, not just you, but all. But you're putting all the attention on you and how much money you could make or how you could live from that or all of the earthly bound, like we say, the seven sins or seven deadly sins, right? Like all of those things, desire and things like that are playing into it. Maybe envy is playing into it. Things to think about going forward when you're focusing on what it is that you're wishing to create in your life or what path you're looking to align with. If we're putting too much emphasis on those worldly aspects instead of on the not just spiritual aspect, but into our alignment and our connection with the divine, with source, with God, whomever you like to call your creator. Um, when we are not putting source at the top of that pyramid and our connection to source and how would you like me to put that? When we are not utilizing the strengths, the capacity, the joy, the comfort, the care, like our connection to source has to come first beyond everything else, right? Because source is working through us and experiencing consciousness through us. And so if we are focused on anything beyond that, I mean, of course, you need to come up with different things and figure out your path and work on yourself. Yeah. But I mean, if you are idolizing something beyond source, beyond your connection to source, beyond what you can create within that environment, within the principles and the virtues and the ethics and the morals and all of the things that would be provided between your connection to yourself and source, above all else, then you are focusing and idolizing something that is a false god. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So then your balance in what you're going to receive is going to be completely off kilter. And so refocusing or reprioritizing, yes, reprioritizing your ideas about what is most important in your life. So that means like your connection above all else to the divine, and then the feelings and the sensation and the experience that you would like to have instead of, say, like comparison or a need, right? If you need something, then you're not going to receive it. But if you want it, that's different, right? But why do you want it, right? What is it going to fulfill within you? Is it going to fulfill some sort of material gain, or is it going to fulfill some emotional gain, some experience in your life that would bring in the feelings that you wish to have? That's where your focus should be. It should be on you, your connection to source and the divine, and then the experience that you want to have in your life. And if you find there is an imbalance there, when you look at things, if you find there's an imbalance there, then you're being asked to assess that, whether or not that is contributing to your life, or if it's actually creating maybe blocks or resistance, or if those things are aligned more with the material, then how do I align that with my virtues? How do I align that with my moral compass? What are my morals? What do I live by? And am I living by that? And if not, then your job would be to align yourself with those things first and foremost, and then to build from that place, from a secure foundation. And that secure foundation is supported and uplifted by your connection to yourself and the divine. And only from there, from that place, can you build outside of the ego, because all of these material gains and material aspects of life are all a part of the ego and desire. And so you're being asked to really look at these aspects of self and assess whether or not your foundation matches what it is that you are, I just heard, looking to gain in life. But it's really not about gain. So that is a distinction between the two, right? If you're looking to gain, that is coming from a place of your ego. If you are embodying that you already have everything that you could ever want, and it's not just like the material, it's the emotions and the feelings and the experiences behind it, and you embody that which you want to experience and have, then it is that place in which you are generating that life, right? You are materializing that life. That is when the connection between um, the the universal energies and all of the universal laws and you are all aligned in order to attract that into your life. Otherwise, there's blockages. And so refocusing your energy really comes down to assessing where you may be still living by earthly desires, living by, and like the seven deadly sins is come up, and it keeps coming back. So living by the seven deadly sins, living by perhaps there is a lack of integrity between what you believe are your morals and whether you're living up to those morals. And there's no judgment here, and please don't take offense because we all do that. That's the human path. If you weren't doing that, you would already be a saint and you would already be ascended. And this is not being told to you in order to make you feel shame or to induce shame or guilt. It is just being provided for you to illuminate the human condition, right? And so maybe there's some aspect of you that has derailed from some part of that moral compass or your ethics or your integrity or something that is essentially derailing you further along into the path that isn't for your highest and greatest good. So that may be something that you'd like to look at and see if that is aligned. Thank you for that message, Archangel Uriel. We'll get one more from this deck here from the opening message. That one. Reassurance. Angel number 747. Trust your intuition and make practical decisions that align with your higher purpose. Your guardian angels are acknowledging your efforts. Yeah, okay. So, really, that's exactly what we were just talking about. That's another confirmation. But you're receiving some reassurance from the divine that, they do see all of the effort that you've been putting into your path, into yourself, into your connection, possibly even into your spiritual gifts, into your connection to the divine, to source, to yourself. They acknowledge that you have done work to at least take steps because we're all on different paths, or that you've been doing it consistently, or that you've been doing it for a long time. And so understanding that part of this situation here I'm hearing is that it's not simply, again, a lack of clarity, but that does come in the more insecure you feel, right? The more that your ego self has to step in, or the more that you self abandon. But it's really more so about ensuring that while you are assessing these parts of yourself that maybe need to be realigned or get aligned, or um, strengthen your alignment, I just heard. Um, it's not just about the alignment process and about disconnecting from the material and embodying that contentment, embodying that joy as though it's already here. It's not just about that. It's about creating a practical plan, as they say in this card, that um, once you figure out what path is going to provide you with the experiences and the emotions and possibly the people and the gratification and things that you might feel by uplifting others, humanity, or providing humanity with your special talents and gifts. Once you have come to a clear decision on that, you've gotten clear with yourself, and you've assessed these two parts here, where you are maybe self-abandoning and where you need to perhaps detach from specific ideas around what would make you happy, um, or your attachments to the material, then you have to create some sort of practical plan or schedule where you can fit it in, like, because everybody's living these different timelines, different lifetimes. We all want different things in our lives for ourselves. Um, and our idea of what's going to be, you know, heaven on earth is going to be completely different for each of us. So, having a practical plan or schedule or, yeah, well, just plan. Having a practical plan in order is going to be necessary in order for you to achieve it, because you've got to rework the way that you're living. And that may come down to letting go of certain things, detaching or surrendering to, or eliminating other things from your life so that you have more time or you have more space, or even within yourself, maybe that you have a clearer channel, right? So this can apply in many different ways for each of us, but um, what's being recommended here is that you you create that practical plan, and you may not know how you're going to get from point A to point B, but that you allow for faith um, to step in alongside of you, right? Because the universe works in this way where you take a step forward and the universe is going to match you because you're telling the universe, this is what I want, but not out of desperation, not out of need, but because it's fulfilling. It fulfills me. It brings fulfillment to the world. I am assisting in elevating all of us or consciousness or whatever it might be. Um, but, this is the energy that you're wanting to put into it. And not only that, this aligns you with that path so that you can attract it towards you faster. And I'm hearing with Archangel Uriel here that anytime that you are unclear of the next step, in that process of development or creation, whether that's in your personal life or that's in your work and career life, or it's within a relationship, to pause. Don't go forward if you don't have the next step. Take some time to re regulate yourself, to settle yourself. Take a pause, whether it's a day or 3 days, or maybe you go on a vacation for a week and you're by yourself, or you at least have time for self-reflection, even if it's an hour a day, to just sit with that and allow the next step to come through. Ask Archangel Uriel and your spirit guides, your spirit team, or your holy ancestors, whoever it is that you choose to believe in or call upon for help, but especially Archangel Uriel, for that clarity in the next step. And sometimes we don't receive that information because we're too busy, or we're distracting ourselves, or we're not taking the time to be alone with ourselves and our thoughts. Other times, it's just that information or that next step may not be ready or aligned with you. So you may have some internal work to do to align. So that might be your other question is, if this isn't happening for me, what is out of alignment within me that's not making me a match to the next step in my development or in this process? And through working in that way, taking time to have a quiet mind, at least for an hour a day or even half an hour, giving yourself that space and time and letting your guides know, okay, this is my quiet time, and I am open to receiving any guidance or any messages that you have at this time to help me with the next step or understand which direction I'm going in now or what to do next, or just guidance that I need in order to align myself with the next step. Because again, it's not their job to constantly tell you everything, right? You do need to figure things out. So sometimes they will give you the next step, and other times you have to be the one to actually figure it out like a puzzle, right? You have to be the one to investigate what's out of alignment. Why am I not an energetic match to the next step? So, creating or carving out some time and space every day so that you can be open and receptive to either your own wisdom or your own Akashic records or to the guidance that you may receive will help you to align yourself with that next step, with your own creations. And so you never really have to worry. It's this worry that is creating this lack of clarity and then emotional upset, right? It is, it's being told to me that like you don't actually have to worry about the next step. You'll receive it when you're aligned with it. You'll receive it when you're meant to take the next step. But often we're living out of our ego, we're living out of our fear. We want to rush. We want to move quickly. We want to get to the end result right away. And the whole point of this is that you learn how to enjoy the process of getting there through the work that you're doing on yourself. because anytime you're clearing out the gunk from past is what I like to refer to it as, um, then you're making space for new experiences like joy and feelings and emotion to be at the forefront of this creation. But the more pressure you put on yourself to perform, the more energy you put into pushing for it or working hard for it or getting stuck in your thoughts, then the more resistance you're creating to the vibration that you're looking to be in order to achieve the next step, the next step, the next step fluidly. So you want to continue to clear yourself as you're going through this, which brings in these higher states of being and feeling, which allows for, again, more joy to enter you, more light, more wonderful experiences and people along your path. Because sometimes it's people that will come into your life that will help you to get on to a specific path or to take that next step or to help you develop in some way, to teach you something, right? Others have gone before us. And so they know even more about the path than we do. So maybe it's about people, or maybe it's about emotions for you, or the feeling of fulfillment, no matter what you are going through in your life, but this feeling that you're embodying within you. So it's all about a teaching process, which the angels and source really want you to accept as part of this joy producing, this joyful producing fulfillment within yourself. That's how it was said. Okay, sure. But it is a part of the experience that you're rushing past in order to get to the finish line. And there is no way to get to that finish line and rush because it puts you further away from the finish line when you're doing that. And so there's a level of acceptance and a level of surrendering control and a level of, you know, appreciating just where you're at right now in the current moment, and that it's okay to be there, right? Because if your ego feels hurt that I've said that, then it's important to reassure your ego that it's okay to be there and that you're going to love you and your inner child no matter what, no matter where you are, no matter what your circumstances. You're going to choose to be happy. You're going to choose self love. You're going to choose to be there for yourself. And it doesn't happen in one day, you know? All your issues can't be solved in a matter of a second. It takes work, and that's a part of the journey. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to have some water here. For some reason, this number is really standing out, 747. Not just because it is a plane, right? But maybe planes are relevant for somebody here. Um, but yeah, you may want to look up that number. I don't have my angel number book in front of me, but that might be a number of significance. So which one do you want next? Yeah. Okay. Hmm. All right. So what is the viewer mastering at this time? What is the viewer mastering at this time? Holy Spirit and Archangel Uriel. What is the viewer mastering at this time? I'm being told to grab this deck instead. Okay. Sorry, I misheard that. Shuffle it. Okay. On the split, we have Birthing a New Age and Warrior Woman in reverse. So yeah, there is definitely a confliction between past selves, preventing you from stepping into the new, or at least that is the perception, right? So there's something in the unconscious mind that is materializing in your physical realm because there's a conflict of belief systems, which then, creates the energy in your force field, which then attracts those experiences in. Okay. What is the viewer mastering at this time? And this is Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light Oracle cards. Hmm. Yeah, okay. So this ties into the message that we were just talking about. So what you are really mastering is creating heaven on earth. So Lemuria. So that's what this is, this whole process that you're working on right now is to eliminate all of the aspects of self that you were programmed to believe or programmed to or conditioned into acting upon or acting in certain ways or what you value, right? Like again, these earthly things, where where are you putting your focus and your attention? Is it on the material or is it on your connection to yourself and your development and to source? And yes, we all have a need to have these things, but when you prioritize it, again, you're idolizing that instead of idolizing your true heaven, which is something that you get to create, right? So it is what I'm really picking up here is that you're mastering not only the physical urges and um, the emotional urges, the emotion in which you choose to put into something or not, right? So it's about attachments and detaching from attachments, but it's also about how you emphasize your energy, how you direct your energy, how you propel yourself into passionate creations or into the feeling of those things that you want to create, right? So, what you are mastering here is an understanding of how that works, what needs to go still, what needs to be released, what you need to surrender to, because it's not just about letting go and doing all the work and putting ourselves in the right direction, but we also need to surrender control. And time came up, right? Rushing and pushing for something. Time came up in that construct, right? So it's about surrendering to divine timing, surrendering to a power that is greater than ourselves, surrendering our addictions, our afflictions, our attachments, surrendering to our feelings as they come up, surrendering to our aspects of ego self or inner child who are still trying to protect us and keep us in a outdated mode of operation. Surrendering to those parts, acknowledging them and loving them and then protecting them, right? So this is what you're really, all of us are here to master this aspect, but um, through mastering that, then we get to elevate ourselves up into different dimensions, right? Where life becomes much more fluid and much more exciting and awesome, lovely, right? Where we're no longer bound by the restrictions and the temptations and the feelings and the experiences of the lower realm. They will come into our lives at times, yes, to test us, other times just to, because, that's a part of the experience that we have other experiences that aren't always pleasant and happy, right? But it's how we navigate them. It's what energy we put into them. It's whether we give our power away to it and self abandon, or whether we allow spirit to move through us, whether we allow um, ourselves to hold that vibration for extended periods of time or forever, right? Um, and when you don't, then, well, I guess you can't do it forever, but when you don't, it's about how you deal with that situation. Do you self abandon? Do you punish yourself? Do you resort to guilt and shame, which will then lead you to back into other patterns of behavior that are not self-serving, right? They're self-harming. Um, what does heaven on earth look like to you? That goes back to this pathway that you need to decide what your ultimate heaven on earth really looks like. How does it feel? How does it taste? How does it smell? What are the experiences? What emotions do you feel? And when a negative emotion comes in, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with your ego as it happens? How do you consult your inner child? How do you not console your inner child? How do you allow them just to be for the moments that they need an adult present in their lives? Because if you're here listening to this reading, then it's very likely that you never had somebody show up for you as a child, which is why this part of your ego has developed. So, how are you showing up for yourself? What does your heaven on earth look like? Define it. Define it. Otherwise, you can't embody it. You can't feel it. You can't attract it. You can't create it. So you're here to master these lessons and these aspects of yourself so that you can live in your own personal heaven. That's beautiful. All right. Which deck would you like now? I'm going to ask, what's challenging you? This one. Okay. I had it backwards. That's fine. Okay, what is challenging the viewer? What's challenging the collective right now, Archangel Uriel? Oh, this one. Okay. Oh, there's two. Do you want them? Okay, yeah. Life-giving nutrition. Yeah, okay. Synchronicity. Okay, so I guess I'll show you the cards. Life-giving nutrition and synchronicity. Okay, and then we've got numbers 26 and 1. And we've got the elements of ether and earth here. So you may be a earth sign, or you may have strong pulls to these energies right now, or maybe you're feeling as though you're needing to be grounded. Maybe you're living more in spirituality or more, oh yeah, with a lack of clarity. You're probably in a sense of feeling ungrounded because your mind is taking over. And so with these two elements coming together, grounding and connecting to spirit in alignment is going to be really important. Okay. So I guess what's challenging you here the most is that there is a sense that you're not receiving what it is that you want. So there seems to be still this um, feeling of a lack of reciprocation from the universe. So maybe you thought you were doing all the steps and you were, getting in alignment and you're doing what you needed to do. Um, you know, and again, maybe you've been putting too much emphasis on other things rather than the right things, or well, what right and wrong. There's no right and wrong in the world. It's just how we perceive it, right? But whatever it is that is contributing to this feeling like you're not receiving what it is that you are supposed to be receiving, this in itself is an idea, a construct of the mind, a limiting belief that's preventing you from receiving it, essentially. With the synchronicity card, um, it's telling me that the imbalance is within your own limiting beliefs. You are limiting yourself in believing that, in constantly looking for evidence or proof um, of your manifestation, whether it's showing up, if it's here yet, or this need, right? So when you're putting your energy into this feeling, into this emotion, you're projecting this lack, this scarcity or imbalance, feeling like, maybe you're being victimized, or maybe you're being left out in the cold, or maybe you are being treated unfairly. That's the energy you're putting out into the universe. And what you're really struggling to see is that your manifestations are maybe unconsciously being created from a space of scarcity, of lack, of feeling victimized. There's still some aspect within you that feels this way, that feels hurt. That's what it really boils down to. Feeling abandoned. Maybe it's an abandonment wound in some of you. Um, and so if this is the energy that you're working with, then that's what you are creating, right? That's what you're creating with. That's why it's so important to do the inner work, to assess where that's coming from, and to bring healing to the situation, to release it. But what I'm hearing is that there is nothing that you cannot create or have, even instantly. What's really in your way at this time is these limiting beliefs, or this idea that life isn't fair. That, these are going back to childhood. I had just heard life isn't fair. That you need to protect yourself. That you do, right? But when your walls are too high, then that's not good either. Then you can't allow for reciprocation. That you need to put in more effort than what you receive back. There's limiting beliefs there that need to be uncovered, because what's happening in the universe is happening for you, not to you. It's happening to illuminate where you're possibly still holding on to past hurts or past beliefs, or where you're not aligned with yourself or with what you truly want to hold. And it's a vibration. Again, if you, let's just say, if you want to be a millionaire, are you living the lifestyle of, like, energetically and habit forms and things like that a millionaire would have to operate in order to maintain that money? Like, you know, if you're not living that lifestyle, if you're giving way to being lazy, or not taking action, or not doing the work that you need to, or not putting in effort, or maybe you have bad habits that take your money. Maybe you have spending habits that aren't balanced. Maybe if you got that money, then it would all just disappear in a matter of, half a year or a year, because you're not operating in the way that a millionaire would in order to maintain that money and those habits around money and around wealth and around lifestyle. And do you know what I mean? So part of it is about how you are showing up in the world. And that's where this this whole previous part comes in is that whatever it is that you want to create, you have the ability to create it, but you have to align yourself with that version of yourself that wishes to be in that circumstance, in that emotion, in that feeling, in that experience. And this is when the universe reciprocates, right? Is when you become clear on that. You understand fully that it is the work that you're doing on yourself to clear the way, to embody this new version of yourself, to align with that new version of yourself, with the next step, with the heaven that you wish to create for yourself, with the path, with the life purpose, with the people, the relationships, right? It's when you're aligning yourself with that the universe is able to reciprocate because essentially the universe is already trying to reciprocate, but you're not letting it in. You're putting boundaries and blocks to receiving it. You're essentially putting up a wall saying, "Yeah, why isn't it here? There's a wall here. Why isn't it here? Let me just put this wall higher. Why isn't it here? Let me build it higher. I'm gonna create more resistance and make sure that wall goes all the way around me so nothing can get in. And then I wonder why it's not here. That's why. So the universe is already trying to reciprocate with you. It always has been, but it's this self-awareness that needs to kick in, and this higher perspective of how it works, right? In order for you to really get your ideas and your manifestations and your vibration and your whole being aligned with it because it's there. You asked for it. I want. Okay. Well, if you're if whatever you think happens, then you know what you want comes in. But if you put up boundaries or a wall around yourself, then that's never going to show up in your reality because you're blocking it unintentionally. It's part of the experience of learning. It's okay. But that's essentially what is challenging you is this concept, this understanding, actually knowing what's going on. Why isn't it coming in? And it'll be different for all of you. Maybe only one part of that whole message actually applies to that aspect in your life. Maybe all of these messages that came through applied to your life. So you have to look at where you're creating resistance to receiving your manifestations, to receiving fairness, equity, reciprocation, right? Where are you blocking yourself? Where are you out of alignment? What are your priorities? What are you idolizing? So, okay, okay, this is already at an hour. So I am going to get some final advice or wisdom that Archangel Uriel would like to impart on the collective. Which deck would you like me to use? Yeah, okay. Final advice for the collective, for the viewer, please. Archangel Uriel. Mintakan, longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. Okay, so this journey, it's long, right? Nobody's going to dispute that. It's long and it's often very solitary and lonely for many of us, right? And so there may be a longing. There may be a longing for connection, a longing that might be this energy as well. I just heard that is blocking you, right? It's desperation. That's what it is. So there may be a longing for something, for something more than what it is that you're living with or through at this moment. And in order to break that longing and to, again, receive your manifestations, we have to stop looking for things outside of ourselves in desperation of receiving those things. Okay. And so it's your job to recognize where you are feeling that, where you are longing for something or desiring something, as opposed to being okay with where you are in the moment, being okay with yourself, being okay with your ego, being okay with um, your experiences, being okay with what you have, feeling fulfilled in those moments, feeling fulfilled with even if you have a cardboard box over your head or something like that to sleep in, right? Being okay with the experience and accepting where you are, that really helps you to let go of this longing, this need, this desperation, because that in itself blocks you too, right? And part of it is this loneliness, right? That we all feel along this path at some point. Well, at many points, let's be honest, it just changes, right? Eventually, you become okay with it and you become okay with being by yourself and, enjoy your company and enjoy doing things with yourself. But then there's still moments where you might feel like, hmm, it'd be nice to share this with somebody, to have a friend or to have somebody who understands this path, who understands me, but again, that comes from the ego, needing to have somebody to understand you. Um, but somebody who's walked this journey, it's nice to have those things, but if you're trying to attract that, a relationship um, or a friendship or a job or an experience, and you're trying to attract it out of desperation because of material circumstances or your 3D realm life circumstances, then it's never going to come in. You have to stop resisting it by letting go of longing, by letting go of the need to belong. Maybe this ties in for some of you, people pleasing, right? Maybe there are some ties still to people pleasing that you're being asked to look at and let go of. How are you showing up in relation to other human beings? Are you still trying to appease people? Are you still trying to people please? Are you still living inauthentically when you show up, even if it's just a random stranger? Are you still self abandoning? Are you speaking your truth? Are you standing up for yourself? You know, these are aspects that you're being asked to let go of in order to really attract those that, like your soul tribe, your soul family that you really miss, you miss. And that's what this turns into along the journey is a sense of missing your original family, right? And longing for that. But then that is in itself another step of the journey that you have to overcome. And it changes how that operates, right? Because at first we disconnect from people, places, and things that are unhealthy for us or not good for us or that are causing us harm. But then eventually, you know, we start longing for other aspects of ourselves, say our child self, or the experiences that we didn't get to have because of what we went through, or the decisions, right? Regret can play into that. And then eventually it changes again and it morphs and it's, you know, more about longing for that deeper connection. But that deeper connection has to start within you and your connection to the divine, to source first, before you can be an energetic match fully to your soul tribe as well. And a lot of compassion is coming through right now. Because again, goosebumps. Because again, it's not easy. And they understand that. It's not easy. This path, this human experience isn't easy to transcend. The loneliness is not always easy to transcend either. That might be one of the more difficult aspects of the journey itself. But in itself, it is a lesson for you. Multiple lessons, I just heard. There are multiple lessons in solitude, in being with yourself, in strengthening yourself through that solitude. And you're never truly alone, right? The divine is always with you. You're always receiving support. And whether you can hear them, you can feel them, you can know you are connected in any way psychically or not. Because again, you might be starting your journey today and you haven't developed those skill sets yet. You might be only partway down it. You might be halfway through. We're all on this journey at different levels, but the divine is always with you. And they will show up for you when you allow yourself those moments to connect, whether it's through an insight you receive or an idea, inspiration, or somebody doing something really nice for you, like even just holding the door open or smiling when you're having a bad day or telling you a random joke that makes you laugh that you take home with you, right? The divine is always working with you and on your behalf to help you and to support you and to guide you. And so you're never truly alone, but this longing does not help you. It does not serve you. So that may be part of your final lesson in completing this aspect of creating your own manifestation, creating your heaven on earth. That there is nothing outside of yourself that you should need, desire, or long for in order to feel fulfilled. That all needs to come from within. Okay. So if there is anything that is creating these feelings within you, or attachments, or limiting your thoughts or your feelings, then these are the things that you're being asked to assess. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I'm going to get a couple angel numbers for you. Oh, they are jumping out. Whoa, 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 whoa. They are really jumping. Okay, so we've got 777. Perseverance, change of perspective, reflection, inner strength, wisdom, enlightenment. There's a need for a change of perspective on whatever has taken over you now. If you want to succeed, you need to keep going down the road you're on. Reach for the wisdom within, and then you'll see, and then you'll know. Can't talk today. And then you'll just know what the right next step is. Yes, absolutely. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Hopefully my camera didn't pick that out, but that just reminded me of Dory from Finding Nemo. Okay, willpower. Yeah, that's definitely the elephant in the room that we didn't discuss. 1818. Achievements, success, striving forward, prosperity, go-getters, courage, luck. Wow, significant events are on the cards for you. You will progress in your adventure, in your endeavors, and gain new experiences. The right people and resources will be put on your path. An excellent proposal or change is coming up. You're destined for greatness. Yeah. So definitely perseverance and willpower are needing to go hand in hand here. So I'm hearing that this is, how would you like me to word that, Holy Spirit? This is a time frame that is especially important for you to be diligent and what is the other word? Disciplined. Diligent and disciplined um, on your self-work. Okay, so this is a very important window right now because it's going to determine, I was trying to come out so fast, it's going to determine your next stages of life here, right? And it's all lined up beautifully for you. There are things that are like, they're literally here, but it's you who's holding you back. It's you limiting yourself. And so you need some sort of determination and willpower to rise up within you. And this may be something that you want to call upon your spirit team, your guides, your inner child, even your ego. Sometimes just calling on your ego will help you to step into that energy. Because your ego actually holds potential for you to tap into and to utilize as well to propel you forward or to get you in the right set of energy or mind state, like mind frame, state of mind, I guess was the word trying to come through, that you need to be into in order to achieve this or to harness that willpower. And tapping into the divine masculine within you. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, we all have divine masculine and divine feminine, or toxic masculine and toxic feminine, right? That's part of this path is learning to purge those aspects and to find balance. But calling on or tapping into that aspect of self in order to get you back into your future timeline, because it seems like it's right there. And there is a window of opportunity right now that is open for you to catapult yourself into it. And that could involve your your soul tribe, or it could involve somebody who is going to mentor you or teach you or guide you or a stronger connection to your guides, right? It could involve a lot of different aspects like that where there are things that are in alignment for you right now to help you strengthen your resolve, to strengthen yourself, to strengthen your clarity, to really get you into the next level or onto the next step. But again, it takes perseverance. It takes you committing to yourself, recommitting to yourself in a different way with a new perspective on what that looks like for you. And it shouldn't involve anybody else's idea on what that should look like for you, unless, of course, you know, you are in a healthy relationship, you have a husband or a wife, or you have children that you need to balance that with. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things obviously have to work into it. But, you know, you have to do what is right based on your feelings, your beliefs, your what you desire, what your heaven on earth looks like. All right. Now, I'm going to get a few affirmations to support you on this journey. Which affirmations will be best to support the collective, the viewer? Ooh, that's a lot. You want all of them? Top three? Okay. I choose love no matter what. Again, feel free to pause this video and write these down if you would like. I don't mind at all. In every moment, the universe is conspiring to bring me toward right-minded thinking and the energy of love. Hope is a conduit for miracles. Okay, and then I'm going to get a few crystal cards. Which crystals would best support the collective and the viewer in healing this part of their, that one. Okay, so communication, um, calcanthite. Calcanthite. That's not one that I am overly familiar with, actually. It's the one in the middle. So you may want to look that up. I'm not sure if you can see the spelling, but it's, oh, maybe it's chalcanthite. I'm not sure. Chalcanthite. I'm going to look that up after this because, of course, it's also a blue crystal, and it's helpful with communications. So there may be some of you that need assistance in communicating that or in speaking your truth or speaking who you authentically are, standing up for yourself, speaking on your life, in creating your heaven on earth in a way that is best going to create the experience that you want. What other crystals will best support the collective at this time, please and thank you. As part of their journey. Oh, wow, 4 of them. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay, so we've got Prophecy Stone. Oh, I have one of those. Also known as the Philosopher's Stone. So if you're looking for one. Um, yeah, it's hard to see in this image, but it's kind of like spiky with dull ends, right? Not sharp, not going to hurt you when you hold it. So prophecy, philosopher's stone, that does make sense. Tying into your psychic gifts and abilities. Soul star, okay. Apophyllite, nature spirit, chlorite and quartz. Beautiful. Yeah, reconnecting back down to the earth, to the elements of earth. Um, maybe just to Gaia, grounding yourself, taking walks in nature, hugging a tree, swimming in a lake, or maybe canoeing down the river, just reconnecting to earth energy and earth spirits. Crossroads, and this is chastolite, chiastolite, Chastolite. Yeah, so some of you have been feeling as though you're at a crossroads, right? That's what all these thoughts are and mixed feelings and not sure which path to go down, right? You're at a crossroads. It's like, do I continue down this path in the same way that I've been going, or do I decide to make a change? And, you know, uh, what what is that going to look like? There may be fear involved in that. There may be fear impeding your decision-making progress or process. So that's something to look at and be aware of. All right, and then we're going to close the reading with a couple animal spirit messages. I wasn't going to, but since we have nature spirits here, we'll get a few of those. Which nature spirits would like to come through for the collective with messages? Okay. Oh, that came out in the last reading. Greatness, elephant. Love is your strength. Leadership is your path. Your wisdom inspires everyone you meet. You can overcome any problem. You will naturally and easily achieve success. Which nature spirits would like to come through for the collective, please and thank you. Higher calling, lion. You have within you all the courage you need. Let go of the past and reclaim your majesty. You will find success and contentment with those by your side. Make noble choices for your life and your tribe. Yeah, because of course, this longing, we were talking about your soul tribe. It's you have to let go of certain things in order to make yourself a resonant match. But at the same time, people in your soul tribe, not everybody has gone before you. Some people are working in a mirrored fashion with you at this time and who are, you know, relying on you to do some healing to show them the way, and vice versa. In the 5D, you're also relying on them to do certain aspects of their healing to kind of illuminate the path for you, right? So it's a matter of working together in that respect. Which nature spirits would like to come through for the collective, for the viewer? Community. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. B. You are a powerful creator. Your work blesses everything you touch. Be open to receiving sweetness. You are the queen or king of abundance. Which tells me, like you're not recognizing your unlimited potential. You're not recognizing your potential and the abundance that you already created and have access to, right? Part of it may just be awareness around the whole situation, your awareness of it. Okay, I'm hearing two more nature spirits, please, for the collective, for the viewer. Mm. Okay, this one ends. Okay, so we have singer, humpback whale. This one came out in the last one too, that I pulled these. Sing healing songs for the world. Your inner navigation always guides you. Nothing can stop you or keep you from your goal. Align with your purpose and the power in your soul. Oh, it's like a little rhyme too. Cute. And that which is for you will never pass you by. It's just a matter of you aligning with it, right? It's already whatever you want to create, you can create it. But if you're not aligned to receive it, then it can't come in. So that's beautiful. And then we have independent cat. You are a natural healer. Your intuition is strong. You don't have to go with the crowd. Life supports you in every way. Exactly. You are a unique individual with your own needs, with your own beliefs, with your own wants, and your own interests, right? So don't take on everybody else's opinions on everything as factual. Do your own introspection and clearing so that you can figure out who you truly are, what you truly believe, right? What is resonating or feels true to you. Yeah. And that's how you carve out your authenticity, is that you figure these things out. And you don't go with the crowd. You don't listen to other people's opinions. You don't allow that to affect you. You detach emotionally from other people's perspectives and feelings and recognize that they are entitled to have those feelings, opinions, thought forms because they are in their own lessons. They are where they are in their life. You don't have to buy into it. You don't have to give your power away to it. You don't have to believe it. You now have the choice and you're working on your independence, and that is a beautiful thing, my friend. Beautiful thing. All right, I want to thank Archangel Uriel for presiding over this reading today and for providing the collective and myself with beautiful guidance, beautiful messages. We are so very grateful for all that you have done for us today and for showing up for us today. Thank you to all of you in the collective who are receiving this message. I am so grateful that I get to show up here 3 times a week or sometimes more when I'm called to provide these messages and to provide this guidance. I feel very honored and I'm just I'm so grateful for that. So thank you for being here. If you're new here, join our radical and amazing Vibe Tribe. If you want to subscribe to join our community, that would be greatly appreciated. Leave a thumbs up if you did enjoy this, if it resonated with you, and feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Wishing you all the best. Have a wonderful day. Blessings.